All right, so I have this list of 13 dark fan theories about the MCU, and I figured, you know what? Let's take a look at them. I haven't done a lot of MCU fan theories, so yeah. Doctor Strange knew he had to sacrifice Tony. So this is from Redditor user Quilled. In Doctor Strange, his solo film, he becomes upset when he realizes that he killed one of, we're not even going to try to pronounce that, men. He became a doctor to save lives, not take them. I might be paraphrasing. So, what future would Doctor Strange want? A man who took an oath to save lives as a doctor, then another by guarding our realm from mystical beings. The one where the most amount of lives are saved. That future was the one where Tony sacrifices his life. Strange himself is saddened by that fact, which is why his tone towards Tony changes after seeing all of those futures. He knows that he has to sacrifice Tony to save the universe, even if it's just one life that is one too many. But it was the only way. There were other futures, but they involved too much death. Now, I did leave a link to this article in the description down below, and within that, there's a link to the full theory. I'm not going to go through the whole theory. Yeah, I think this makes sense. Like, he saw all the futures, and this is the one we ended up with. So, yeah. Black Widow did horrible things in Budapest. Now, the Black Widow movie kind of goes into this a little bit. But yeah, kind of. This is from Redditor user Hoot and a Half. I love that. Yeah. Clue 1. In the first Avengers movie, not the first Avenger, but the first Avengers movie, Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff, says, "It's like Budapest all over again." And Hawkeye, aka Clint Barton, replies, "You and I remember Budapest very differently." Yeah, I still don't understand that in the context of the Black Widow movie. But, hypothesis 1. Is it because they were on opposing sides in Budapest? No. 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 Clue 2. In Avengers Endgame on Vormir, Natasha says, "I don't judge people on their worst mistakes." And Clint replies, "Maybe you should." And Natasha quips back, "You didn't." I mean, because Natasha did a lot of bad things before Budapest. Hypothesis 2. Is it possible that Natasha, given that she originated from the Soviet bloc, did something very bad in Budapest before she was converted in her views and joined Hawkeye and his side? Is Budapest the worst mistake she is referring to? Not quite. I mean, I think that, yeah, there is a lot of things that Natasha did bad. And so there's that. But the Budapest mission was her final step in defection to S.H.I.E.L.D. So, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. had something to do with that. But it is possible. She does regret everything that happened. Yeah. Small addition. As they head to Vormir, Hawkeye says, "We're a long way from Budapest." See, what this theory is telling me is there was so many different ways this Budapest situation could have gone than the way that it actually did in the Black Widow movie. Yeah, I mean, it's quasi, right? Quasi? Um, It's not necessarily Budapest, but she did do horrible things in Budapest for her defection to S.H.I.E.L.D., so kind of? Hydra infiltrates the United Nations. That's a terrifying thought. S.H.I.E.L.D. was crippled by the events of Winter Soldier, but Hydra had other bases of operations and other agents globally. They thrive on a decentralized network. While the Avengers were trying to deal with Ultron, I think Hydra was just gathering intelligence and finding ways to control the situation without engaging head-to-head. After getting savaged in their confrontation at the beginning of Age of Ultron. Hydra infiltrated the United Nations and made the Sokovia Accords to control or divide the Avengers. Now, again, this is another one that there's a full theory within the link in the description. Hydra infiltrated the United Nations and made the Sokovia Accords to control or divide the Avengers. See, that right there, that is genius. Do I think that's what happened? Maybe? Do I want that to be what happened? Absolutely I do. That just makes too much sense. That makes too much sense. I love that. We're rolling with it. Hulk meets Black Widow in the Soul World. If only we got to see it. So, this is from Redditor user Crispworthy. Yeah. Think about it. We've only seen the Soul Stone used a couple of times. Mercifully. Thanos wiping out half the universe, and as soon as he does that, he has a moment in the Soul World with the one he loves. Gamora, did you do it? Etc. When the Hulk used it to bring everyone back, when Iron Man used it to get rid of Thanos and his army, we then see in a deleted scene that Tony has a conversation in the Soul World with his loved one, his daughter, all grown up. So, going back to number 2, doesn't it make sense that Hulk got to meet his loved one in the Soul World after he used the stones? Especially when we consider that he told Cap, at least I think it was Cap, that he tried to bring her back. How does he know that he didn't? Everyone appeared exactly where they were when they were dusted. Maybe she came back to life there. But no, Hulk knows she didn't. How could he know? Did Doctor Strange go to Vormir and see if she was bopping around? It's possible, but did he chat to Hulk about it? It's a stretch. Also, consider that Thanos meets Gamora in the Soul World because her soul maybe lives there now due to the sacrifice. The same could be said for Nat. Maybe even Tony's daughter, actually. But that's probably a whole other fan theory about what she might get up to later in her life. Yeah, I definitely think that Hulk saw Natasha in the Soul World. To me, it was always sort of like, you go and you meet, the person you love in the Soul World if they're in the Soul World. Of course, that kind of gets defeated by the Tony and Morgan bit. But, yeah, it was always like he couldn't bring her back. And it just, yeah. I definitely think that this is exactly what happened. I just wish we kind of got to see it, but I digress. Okay, I'm not sure I'm prepared to actually go through this one, but here we are. Peter Parker's parents died in the 9/11 attacks. Y'all, I cannot with this. So I recently watched Spider-Man Homecoming for the 3rd time. Why? Like, okay, here's the thing. Spider-Man Homecoming is not a bad movie. It's just not the best movie. So why? And I started noticing some things. At the beginning, when Happy asked Peter if this is the first time he's been on a private jet, Peter responds, "This is the first time I've been on any plane." Yup. Okay. Peter's first interaction with the Vulture is when the latter catches the former by surprise and dragging him up through the air, which terrifies Peter immensely. I mean, I don't think there needs to be real world tragedy thing to mean that. If you're being dragged through the air by vulture, regardless of situation, wouldn't you be a little terrified regardless? Like, you could love flying, but if you being dragged through the air, you're gonna be a little terrified. Okay, that's all I'm saying. It's one of the weaker points here, but yeah. In DC, when trying to save his classmates, Peter stops cold once he's at the top of the Washington Monument. When Karen asks why, Peter says, "I've never been this high before," implying this version of Spider-Man has a fear of heights. Again, a lot of people have fears of heights that don't necessarily tie back to this. The climax of the movie involves Spider-Man both clawing his way out of demolished building debris caused by an enemy aerial combatant, as well as stopping a plane from crashing into the New York skyline. MCU movies post-Avengers tend to take place in the year they are released. While Homecoming's 8 years line threw a wrench in things, Infinity War confirmed that the time span between Avengers 1 and Avengers 3 has been 6 years, 2012 to 2018. Homecoming confirms that Spider-Man is 15 years old. If Civil War takes place in its release year, 2016, Homecoming takes place 2 months after Civil War, and Peter is 15 years old. That means Peter Parker was born in 2001. Correct. My theory is that shortly after Peter Parker was born, his parents died during 9/11. Once he got old enough, Uncle Ben told him about the event, which caused Peter to develop a fear of heights that did not go away when he first became Spider-Man. Okay. While some of this is justified, some of it is just random. Like the whole, being dragged up and through the air by Vulture, which terrifies Peter. Again, of course it does. It would terrify anybody. I've never been up this high before with the Washington Monument. Okay. A lot of people have a fear of heights, regardless of the trauma. Any plane. It's the first time I've been on any plane. Again, a lot of people don't travel on planes because they prefer to go by car, or they can't afford to go on a trip, so there is no reason to go on a plane. There's a lot of holes in this that can literally just be wrapped up into, well, there's other explanations as to all of this stuff. But could it be true? There's nothing disproving it. There's nothing confirming it either. So we could throw this under the maybe category? Like, I think, yeah, it could be the case. But I think there's also logical, justifiable reasons for all of these points that are being made that don't relate back to 9/11. So, yeah. Cap is suicidal in The Winter Soldier. We weren't kidding when we said these were dark theories. So this is from Redditor user Log4 and Lucky. And it basically says, in The Winter Soldier, he is clearly suffering from depression. He can't deal with the new world and the immorality of it. He lost his friends, his love, and because of it, he feels lonely. After learning about Hydra and Bucky, he feels everything he has done before is meaningless, and his beliefs are shattered by the truth. I think the reason why he wore that World War II suit and made himself more vulnerable wasn't just to remind Bucky of who he really is. I think he wanted to get himself killed while trying to save the world. It would have been an ideal ending for him. He saw a good successor in Sam Wilson, and he knew that Sam would carry his mantle. I think in a weird way, this one actually kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, putting myself in like Steve's shoes for this. It's like he's frozen in ice for what is it, 70 years? I want to say something like that. He comes back. Everything that he's known is gone. The world is different. And Hydra's running loose. Yeah, it would take a toll on you for sure. It's like, so what was the point of anything? Yeah, I think in a weird way this one kind of makes sense, and we're just gonna move on. Bruce Banner's suicide attempt changed his appearance. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. This is from Redditor user Reese in the Darkness. Okay. In a deleted scene from The Incredible Hulk, I still haven't seen that movie, so we're just gonna go into this with that knowledge. Bruce tries to commit suicide by shooting himself in the head by putting the gun in his mouth. Fantastic. What? What is this movie? This obviously does not work because, as he put it in the Avengers, the other guys spit the bullet out. My theory is such: when he fired the gun into his mouth, it caused trauma to his face and broke bones before the Hulk could take over and thwart the attempt. His bones healed as they were while the change was happening, changing his face, making him go from Ed Norton to Mark Ruffalo. That is a dark way to explain a recast. That is a dark way to explain a recast. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I can't really remark on this because I haven't seen The Incredible Hulk. So there's that. This is dark. Very, very dark. Much more darker than the last suicide theory there was. So, we're just gonna go with sure and move on. Nick Fury is in a constant state of mourning. Of course he is. So this is from Redditor user Schoolo by Hugh. I don't even know how to begin to pronounce that, but anyways, it's on the screen. Y'all know. Captain Marvel takes place in 1995. It is then that Fury encounters Goose. Goose! The next time we see Fury is in that famous Iron Man post-credits scene, which takes place in 2008. He is clad in all black, and he is noticeably catless during the exchange with Tony. Now, some quick Googling tells me that the average lifespan of a cat is about 13 to 17 years, but Goose is not a cat. So, Goose appears to be fully grown, so she could obviously be any age. But cats are fully grown within about a year, so she could conceivably be as young as 1 year old in 1995. Given that the average cat lifespan, she would be nearing her expiration date around 2008. Given the adoration he demonstrated for the cat, it wouldn't be too outlandish to assume Fury would keep her as a pet throughout the next 13 years. In Captain America Winter Soldier, Fury says the last time he trusted someone, he lost an eye. With the death of Goose comes the death of trust. He is unable to open his heart to anybody again. He is trapped in a perpetual state of grief, as he is unable to move on from the tragedy, and that is demonstrated through his wardrobe. I know Goose is a flurkin and not a cat exactly, while possessing the physical characteristics of a cat. However, she may also possess its mortal characteristics as well, since aging is essentially a cellular, i.e. physical process. Okay, this, if I'm not mistaken, and it's been a while since I've seen the Marvels, but wasn't Goose in the Marvels, which takes place in present day? Or was that another flurkin? I feel like it was Goose, though, so Goose ain't dead. And like we said in the end, Goose is a flurkin, not a cat. So, flurkins can live forever, maybe. I don't know. But I don't think Goose is dead. So therefore, I don't think Nick Fury is in a constant state of mourning. Yay! Nothing is real in the MCU because of Doctor Strange. So Natasha's alive still. Right? Right? This is from Redditor user arc_the_lad. The theory. We don't know what's really happened in the MCU. We're going to try that again. The theory. We don't know what's really happened in the real MCU because we haven't been part of the prime MCU timeline since the Avengers. Well, damn. By botching the time heist and allowing Loki to escape with the Space Stone, Iron Man rewrote the future so that option number 14,605 cannot occur. So Doctor Strange traveled back in time to make sure it did happen, because option number 14,600,005 is a paradoxical alternate timeline where he reigns unchallenged and supreme. I'm not gonna lie, I understood none of that. So we're gonna go with sure. We're gonna go with sure. Okay, Doctor Strange tries to kill Hulk several times, probably. Probably. This is from Redditor user arc_the_lad. Again, this guy really, really does love Doctor Strange theories. I'm just saying. The theory. Doctor Strange sent the Hulk to Sakaar, which was the first of his 4 attempts at getting rid of the Hulk. Okay. Evidence. Strange has the motive. Can't wait to hear it. The Hulk is too dangerous to ignore. That is kind of true, actually. Strange keeps a list of dangerous beings from other worlds per Ragnarok. Okay. It's not a stretch to believe he also keeps a list of dangerous humans on Earth, which would include Bruce Banner, who is as both a giant green rage monster and co-creator of Ultron, is probably right at the top of the list. Yeah, probably. If we're being honest. Probably. Doctor Strange answers to no one. Even as a student at Kamar-Taj, Strange never did what he was told. He was told not to use portals in the library. He did it anyways. He complains to the Ancient One about being told to blindly accept rules that make no sense. After which, she introduces him to the mirror dimension, where he can do whatever he wants because what happens there doesn't affect reality. When he picks up the time stone to use it for the first time, does he take it to the mirror dimension? Nope. He'll play with time whenever and wherever he wants to. But because the rules just don't apply to Strange. Yeah. After he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, he is the top dog. Right and wrong are whatever he says they are now. So any action he wants to take can be justified, including preemptive strikes. Dang. This kind of makes sense. Dang. Doctor Strange tried to kill Hulk several times. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm sold. I'm sold. It makes sense. Wanda accidentally awakens Arnim Zola. I love that they use this picture. Is this supposed to be when? This is from Redditor user The Ordinary Critic. TLDR, Wanda tried using Arnim Zola's mind transfer tech to save Vision, but it went horribly wrong and she inadvertently resurrects Zola and creates Westview. No. 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 That's not what happens. But let's read it anyways, because this could be fun. Here's the setup. All right. Setup. Let's go. After the events of Endgame, Wanda starts looking for ways to bring Vision back to life. No. In the Avengers files, she discovers that Hydra leader Arnim Zola was able to transfer his living mind into a computer. Seeing this technology as an opportunity to either bring Vision back or for Wanda to digitize her mind to be with Vision, she travels to New Jersey to look for any remnants of Zola's computers. Yo, because it was all in Jersey! Why does this feel like a better version of WandaVision right now? Guys, I love this. Wanda finds backups of Zola's mind in an abandoned bunker in New Jersey and begins tinkering with the software, unknowingly resurrecting Zola in the process. The newly resurrected Zola quickly starts to control Wanda's mind using the same techniques used to brainwash Bucky, though Wanda's mind is far more complex and begins to fracture, creating the Westview Pocket Dimension. Why is this a better version of WandaVision? And I love WandaVision. I love it. Inside Westview, Arnim is posing as Ralph. There's that. Agnes's husband. He stays hidden because he knows if he gets too close to Wanda, she will notice him. Arnim's main goal is to upload his mind to Vision's body. Guys, why is this kind of amazing? The Ordinary Critic, you've done it. You've taken a show that I genuinely loved. It is still genuinely my favorite MCU thing. And somehow made it more interesting. I bow down to you, The Ordinary Critic. You've done it. You've done it. I don't know how you've done it. This is amazing. Why is this amazing? I have so many questions. Why is this amazing? Okay. Well, that was fun. Loki works alongside Thanos. No, don't do this to Loki. Don't do this to Loki. Okay, so this is from Redditor user engineering_123. Thanos, being intrigued, used his scepter to make Loki more irrational to control him and offer him more information. He must have learned about Nidavellir? I butchered that. And probably they're the ones who made the stone holding gauntlet from Loki. I don't know what I just read. Loki's a bit less subtle due to the scepter and promptly wants to squash his big brother's things, i.e. Earth. He finds out about the Tesseract, tells Thanos about it, and Loki talks about how if he was given the scepter and a small army, he can show, in a show of good faith, call half of the population of Earth and bring him another Infinity Stone if he helps him with Asgard, and simultaneously gives him something to become a god with, so he can stop people from ever being hungry by killing half of the people in the entire effing universe. So in essence, Tony Stark dying in Endgame is Loki's fault. So again, there's a full theory, and I feel like this may be one where reading the full theory would actually be beneficial to me, because I don't know what I just read. But I'm going to go with no. I love Loki. Loki working alongside Thanos. Now, granted, this would have been Avengers, and Avengers Loki was sort of evil, but I can't. I can't say that this is a wrong theory. I also can't say it's a right theory, because I don't know what this theory is. Because I don't know what I just read. So I'm going to go with no regardless, but yeah. Sam Wilson works for Hydra. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. No, I refuse to believe this. I refuse. I refuse. So, this is from Redditor user Who Dis Frame. I'm already going to say I don't agree with this, but let's read on. I have a theory that Sam Wilson in the MCU is an undercover agent possibly affiliated with Hydra. Absolutely not. His character always seemed very one-dimensional to me. And then you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier? And when you really think about it, his character doesn't really make any sense unless you consider that he has some further motive that relies on his close relationship and trust with Steve. I have a few reasons for believing this. Do tell, because I'm not sold. It seems really coincidental that Falcon just so happens to run a PTSD support group at Peggy Carter's nursing home. Does it not? No. And upon watching The Winter Soldier again, it really seems like he's trying to relate and appeal to Steve by talking about his experiences with war and such. Yeah. It seems that maybe he was trying to earn Steve's trust so that he could later fall back on him when he feels out of his depth, which he does in the second act of the film. Again, there's a full theory to this. Okay. What I will say is I think this would have been a better angle for the Falcon and Winter Soldier show than whatever the heck they were doing with Sharon. I feel like this would have been the better angle to go with, because it would have been this like literal guttural gut punch. And while I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a show, that show, I feel like, gave us more reason to not believe this theory. If that makes any sense. Like, this is very reminiscent of a video that I did a while back, which was like, I think it was something like my favorite Black Widow fan theories or whatever, and it was like bizarre out there fan theories, and it's like Natasha never defected from never defected to SHIELD, like she was still working with like the KGB and all that, and I'm like, that would have been interesting if Natasha was still alive. And I feel like this feels very reminiscent of that, in that it's like that betrayal from someone that we trust. I just feel like in a similar vein to the Natasha one, the person who would be most affected by this would have been Steve, and Steve is no longer here. So it's sort of like, okay. Here's the thing. I don't believe it, but I kind of like it. Like, I kind of like it, but I don't believe it. So that's the category we're going to leave it on. And that is the theory we're going to leave it on. Let me know. What did you guys think of these theories? Do you have any other dark MCU fan theories? Which one of these theories was your favorite? Which one do you think is the most plausible? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below.